But first it helps to turn the microphone on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honoured and excited to have this opportunity to address the honourable guests and participants in this meeting, the establishment and launch of the Coordination Committee for the African Platform for Animal Welfare. Thank you very much for the invitation. As many of you will know, World Animal Protection has a strong presence in Africa through our office here in Nairobi and the work across the continent. I just spent the last couple of days in the south of Kenya, where community leaders and the government of Makueni County shared with us some learnings from their partnership with our organisation. The programme named Kikamba for Ideal Livestock had more than 2,000 farmers in livestock farmer field stations trained in animal welfare and livestock husbandry. In addition to the immediate benefits for animals, I was delighted to learn of the benefits for the community. For instance, the Kanani group, with nearly 20 active members, increased their milk production from 19 litres to nearly 350 litres per day in about 3 years. And 14 of the groups in the county were also trained on community-based disaster risk management learning tools and techniques that have allowed them to protect their animals and consequently their livelihoods in situations of disaster. I'm also proud to say that we've been closely linked to the work leading up to the development of the Animal Welfare Strategy for Africa and the establishment of the African Platform for Animal Welfare in both a technical and financial capacity, and I'll come back to these achievements shortly. We've been successful in these areas for many reasons, but I want to highlight one today. We help to move the world to put animal protection at the heart of sustainable development. Animals play a huge role in lifting people out of poverty. Better animal protection means healthier animals. It means fewer infectious diseases for animals and people. It is the route to sustainably increasing livestock productivity and producing higher quality and safer livestock products. It is essential to ending poverty-linked diseases, such as rabies. And it contributes to the health of our ecosystems and the protection of biodiversity and the reduction in greenhouse gases. Animal welfare is an integral part of the Sustainable Development Agenda. In September of 2015, all countries in the world signed up to a collective agenda which envisions a world in which humanity lives in harmony with nature and in which wildlife and all living species are protected. We're pleased to see that the Sustainable Development Agenda is increasingly guiding the production and implementation of international commitments to protect animals. The creation of the African Animal Welfare Platform and the development of a strategy for animal welfare that's brought us together today are clear examples of the leading role that Africa is now beginning to take. As we've been a partner of the AU-IBAR in this process for more than 3 years, we enthusiastically shared the news with our colleagues around the world that the strategy was endorsed by the heads of state earlier this year. That strategy is a major step forwards in our collective efforts to position welfare as a strategic development priority in Africa. We were particularly pleased that the African Union is promoting welfare as part of the agricultural priorities in the continent, as enhancing welfare in farming has been and will remain a very important part of the work of our organisation. In this regard, the welfare strategy follows the growing global consensus that animal welfare is crucial to sustainably increasing livestock productivity, and it's essential to food security and broader sustainable development. So this concept of global consensus brings me to the OIE. As chief veterinary officers in your respective countries, you're very familiar with this organisation and its procedures in relation to welfare. World Animal Protection became the first animal welfare non-governmental organisation to contribute to OIE's World Animal Health and Welfare Fund in 2014, a commitment we renewed in 2015, the grant providing training and support to the Philippines Humane Slaughter Training of Trainers programme, and it promoted various activities of the OIE platform on welfare for Europe, and was used to co-sponsor the World Health Organization OIE conference on rabies that took place in Geneva in December 2015. Importantly, the OIE General Assembly approved last year their global animal welfare strategy. Now, those international agreements remind us that animals are a hugely important part of our world. Nevertheless, I want to borrow some words from the wonderfully named Specialised Technical Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Water and Environment of the African Union, who in October said this, in the context of endorsing the welfare strategy for Africa. The Specialised Technical Committee noted that animal welfare is an issue of growing concern globally, with compliance to welfare standards increasingly an integral part of trade agreements. Africa is lagging in compliance to good welfare practice. At the political level, there is yet inadequate attention to promotion of animal welfare principles in the development of the continent's animal resources. This has ramifications for both Africa's goals of intensifying animal production, of tripling intra-African regional trade in livestock, and for Africa's participation in global trade of livestock. We can't help but agree. But in the context of this meeting, and as we launch the steering committee for the strategy, I'm in the fortunate position of representing an organisation committed to changing this perception and contribute to a vision of an Africa leading the debate in the future. As a way to demonstrate this, we'd like to offer our continuing support in the Coordination Committee, where we would like to encourage action on implementation. A first step, one that we would like to discuss today, for instance, is by realising one of the pillars of the strategy and supporting the adoption of the Universal Declaration for Animal Welfare. At this point, I'd like to recognise Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, the Ivory Coast, Liberia and Seychelles for giving us letters of support for the declaration. Please bear with us if I forgot to mention any of you that have already done so. African support for the adoption of the declaration will send a clear signal that the continent acknowledges that animals are sentient beings and that welfare is an issue worthy of consideration and respect. More importantly, though, the adoption of the declaration will lead to an increasingly level playing field in terms of relative competitiveness in the global livestock markets, and could assist in the livestock sector becoming a real engine of growth for Africa. So far, the declaration has been endorsed by approximately 70 countries around the world, as well as many of the international veterinary associations. I will make myself and our teams internationally and locally through my colleagues here in Nairobi available to support you on this journey. So by the end of the day, you would have heard from many other participants, international organisations and other stakeholders in the room that the time to take action on the commitments agreed in the Animal Welfare Strategy for Africa is now. And while the road ahead is inevitably long and full of challenges, or maybe they're problems, our organisation awaits with interest the implementation of the Animal Welfare Strategy for Africa. As the CEO of World Animal Protection, I want to express our full commitment to its implementation, and I encourage all of you to engage actively in its development for a brighter and better future for Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, World Animal Protection, for this very useful remark.